Howdy, everyone. Today I chose to respond to option number one. Participants and historians today consider the Vietnam War a tragedy. Why? To what extent did U.S. political and military leaders misunderstand the situation in Vietnam, and what about this war generated such intense opposition on the American home front? Well, the Vietnam War is widely considered a tragedy/disaster because of the immense loss of life without a clear or definitive outcome, and the deep and lasting schisms it created within the U.S. Politically. As the American Yop explains in Chapter 25, American involvement in Vietnam grew directly out of Cold War containment policy. U.S. leaders feared this global spread of communism that was happening at the time and believed that failing to stop it in Vietnam would weaken American credibility around the world. It triggered a domino effect as other communist countries saw that they could get away with it. Vietnam was viewed less as a unique political struggle and more as one piece of a larger ideological battle. To a large extent, U.S. political and military leaders understood the situation in Vietnam itself. As the American Yop says in Chapter 27, many of the Vietnamese people saw this conflict primarily as a nationalist struggle for independence rather than simply an extension of Soviet or Chinese communism. From their perspective, it looked more liberatory than containing. By interpreting the war through the lens of the Cold War, American leaders underestimated Vietnamese nationalism and overestimated what military escalation would cause to happen. The conflict became a really drawn-out war focused on just pure body counts rather than meaningful stability in the political landscape. And as you know about the war, it was really gruesome and horrific, so it is why it's remembered as tragic. The intense opposition on the American home front also contributed to why it is viewed this way. As the American Yop explains in chapters 27 and 28, the draft impacted working class and minority Americans more severely than others, which fueled this frustration and protest. And this, combined with the addition of the gruesome television coverage of the events, brought the realities of the war into American homes, making the war much more personal. It felt much more close when you actually saw people being taken by the draft and things happening like that in your own home country. When the Pentagon Papers revealed these inconsistencies between official government statements and the realities of the war, the credibility gap widened and public trust diminished significantly. In conclusion, the Vietnam War is considered not just a tragedy because of the lives lost, which, although that's a really significant part of it, but also because it exposed the limit of American power and fractured the public confidence we had in our government and their moral altruism, so to say. And it left a lasting political and cultural wound on our nation that we still see the effects of today in some mistrust of government and related situations. Well, that's all I got. Thanks for listening, and I'm looking forward to seeing your responses as well.